Welcome to Howay and Say. Newcastle United just beat West Brom 3-2 in the Carabao Cup, but even though they're through, was that a convincing performance?
Don't know whether it was convincing, but I was absolutely buzzing after that. I really enjoyed myself tonight.
Why? What did you like about that? Conceding two to a Championship side that finished, I think, 21st, just avoiding relegation last year.
The big thing for me was the first half when we watched our new superstar, Steur. If you couldn't enjoy that performance from him the first half, you might as well not bother enjoying any game at all.
He was good, but what particularly did you like about him today?
He was turning on the ball. He was coming to receive it from the centre halves or the goalkeepers, and he was making a turn. He was going left or right. Sometimes he was dropping it off, and he always did the right thing. He always got himself 2 to 3 yards of space, and he was able to do something, whether that was a simple pass or whether it was a decent pass out wide. Top performance. It was
good, and I feel like in comparison to when he played against Liverpool at the weekend, he got forward a lot more.
Yeah, I think the defensive part of his game, it suffered a bit against Liverpool because they had a better attacking group of players. But tonight they didn't have that, and he was able to push forwards. He was getting those 2 or 3 metres further forwards, and he wasn't getting closed down, and he made the most of it.
Definitely. But the problem, or I'm not going to put words in your mouth here, was there anything that you think maybe needed improvement? Anyone who got a chance that maybe didn't take it?
Team-wise, I think we've all been proven right from last season, and it's Nick Woltemade. It's not his right position. Is Jijsla's formation the right thing for him? He's definitely a good player. Does he fit in that position? Definitely not tonight for me, where he played tonight. Potentially could be playing as a 10, but you've got 2 more rapid players who could fill that slot, or 3 if you include Ramsey in that as well.
He just looks like he lacks the pace and he lacks the physicality.
I think physicality. I don't think he lacks the pace. I think it's his reaction time to do stuff, and the stuff could be turning, it could be jumping for headers, it could be pushing somebody or getting out of the way of a challenge. I think that's what he lacks. I don't know whether you can improve on that if you're 22 or 23 year old, but that's definitely a shortcoming in him.
Yeah, fair. And it looked like they missed Osula up top. It looked like they missed that pace, that anticipation, and I think had they have had that, do you think it would have been a comfortable win?
Well, if you look at the last 10 or 15 minutes, when Woltemade switched, he had a faster bloke behind him in Wissa. He did close down, and we did eventually win the balls. When he closed down the keeper, he didn't win any tackles and score any of those fluke goals. But the ball was going to Elanga, the ball was going out wide to Lewis Hall, and he was effective in doing that job. So the jury's still out, but the last 10 or 15 minutes playing with a different player seemed to turn a little bit, yeah.
Okay, and obviously with it being 2-2, Jijsla had to make some changes. He had to bring on what you're going to call the big guns in Anthony Elanga and Yoane Wissa, to get over the line against West Brom. It is a concern going into Tottenham. It's
a concern, but thinking about it during the game, had he picked the right players to start with? Baz is a great player and he's super fast, but he was marked and he didn't lose his marker all the time. And despite the fact that Elanga might have been a poorer player last season and he was one of the standout players on Saturday, maybe Baz was in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm not too concerned about that, and I don't think that he was necessarily outdone by Elanga, but certainly he was the wrong player at that time. And Wissa coming on, he was the perfect player to play with Woltemade, and his substitution coincided with Woltemade improving.
I think those two coming on, they just brought that little bit extra energy, that little bit more work rate. They got stuck in, they made things happen, they made it exciting.
Yeah, well, if you look at the right-hand side, so Elanga came on with a super fast bloke playing behind him. I've got no idea what he's like at crossing or whether his technical skills are particularly good, but the fact that he was positive and direct meant that suddenly he had 2 fast, positive, direct players together, and then you noticed that West Brom was sitting off, and suddenly we had more space. Elanga could get in behind. There was space behind the full-back, which wasn't there before Elanga came on.
And then obviously the Spurs at the weekend, at the start of the game, it had me thinking it looks like there's no chance you can go to Spurs and get a win, with the money they've spent despite having a terrible start. But the finish was a bit more promising.
It was promising, and if we talk about our strongest starting 11, which you can sort of work out now what the best 11 is to play with Jaisla's style. If we play to that style with the players who can fit in, I think we're all right. A couple of exceptions you can think of. It's a full idea now about who our number one goalkeeper is, so it's obvious. Nobody needs to even discuss that. Yeah. And we need Asula as our furthest up front player. He fits the style perfectly, and he can get some shots away. And we saw him passing on Saturday. So if we're starting with him, fantastic. If we're starting with the big guns, as you said before, it's starting to build a picture in my mind as to what our strongest team is.
And how confident are you that can perform week in, week out in the Premier League? Because for me, it looks like a high risk, high reward strategy. At times when they turn the ball over in the final third, we're very exposed. It looks like a quick break and teams could be through.
Agree with that, and I think a lot of the time when we lost possession, Steur didn't know where to go. It's a repeat of what he did on Sunday against Liverpool. But when Miley came on, that changed.
Yeah. And
he's not that much older than him.
No.
But the difference was that he knew when to go. He didn't necessarily have the touch and the kind of like creative vision that you saw with Steur. But what you did see is that he dropped off at the right time, and suddenly the pressure from West Brom was less.
Yeah.
So, if we're looking for indications as to who does what, certainly Miley's slotting in my mind as to somebody who's undoubted starter. You can't not play him.
No, totally, and hopefully he's just going to continue to get better and better. But when we talk about players that have got room for development and getting better, Newcastle just announced at the start of the game a new signing, Gonzalez from Manchester City. How excited are you to see him play?
Oh, absolutely buzzing. Even more so than watching the game tonight. It was exciting to watch, and to be honest, I've only watched him play against Newcastle, and in one of the games he destroyed us in midfield. And if he can do that for us against Spurs, assuming he's going to play at the weekend, then I think it's going to be good times.
Excellent. Thank you very much.